Hello everyone, my name is Irma Dwi Savitri. Today I would like to present my topic entitled Language and Gender. Language and gender is a field in sociolinguistics that examines how language is used differently by men and women, as well as how language reflects and shapes gender identity. Reasons why this topic is important in sociolinguistics are as follows. Language is not only a tool for communication, but also a reflection of social structure. Understanding the relationship between language and gender helps explain difference in speech patterns, power, and social norms in various communication situations. This is important for education, media, and everyday interaction so as not to perpetuate stereotypes. There are several key theories in language and gender. First, Janet Holmes. Language variation is influenced by social role and politeness strategies. Women tend to be supportive and effective, while men are more referential and competitive. Holmes explained that language variation between men and women is influenced by social rules and politeness strategies. Women tend to use language that is more supportive and effective, while men are more referential and competitive. Second is Ronald Wardock. Language variation based on gender is part of social dialect, with difference arising from different cultural and social expectations. Wardock stated that gender-based language variation is part of social dialect. Men and women use different language because of social difference and cultural expectation. Third is Peter Churchill. Men more often use non-standard form, while women tend to choose standard form due to sensitive to social status and linguistic prestige. Find that men more use non-standard language form, while women tend to choose standard form. The reason women are more sensitive to social status and linguistic prestige. Fourth is Chaika. Language difference are not due to biological factor, but rather to social construct that shape the way individuals communicate. Chaika argues that language difference between men and women are not caused by biological factor, but by social construct. General pattern in language use based on gender. Example of common difference. Women use more tag question such as isn't it, intensifiers such as very, really, hedges such as somewhat, sort of. Men are more likely to interrupt, give direct commands, speak in a more dominant style. Example: I think it's a bit cold. Do you think?
Close the window.
Conversation data analysis case study. Let's analyze a simulate dialogue to see patterns of gender-related language use in practice. Can you help me with this? I'm not really sure.
Give it to me. I'll do it.
Thank you. I find this a bit confusing.
It's easy. You just have to follow the steps.
This dialogue highlights the difference in communication style that are more observed between men and women. Data interpretation, sociolinguistic phenomena. What is the sociolinguistic phenomena? There is a noticeable difference in speaking style. Women use hedges, not really sure, politeness, and expressiveness. Men are more direct and dominant. Give it to me. Why does it happen? Social norms teach women to be more polite, cooperative, and non-dominant. Men are taught to appear competent, assertive, and to lead conversation. Theories explaining this phenomenon. First, Holmes. Different in politeness strategies and linguistic interaction. Second, Churchill. Women tend to choose a more refined or prestigious form of language. Third is Tennant. Report talk. Men focus on information versus report talk. Women focus on building relationship. So, men focus on information, women focus on relationship. Their theories provide a framework for understanding the sociocultural basis behind difference in language use. Conclusion: language, gender, and society. Close connection. Language and gender mutually shape the way individuals communicate, reflecting identity and social structure. Social factor. Theories from Helmholtz, Churchill, Warthog, and Chaika suggest that language differences are more social than biological. Real patterns. Data analysis confirm that there is a clear pattern in language use between men and women. Expanding our understanding of language helps us become more conscious in our daily communication, thereby avoiding the reinforcement of harmful gender stereotypes. Contribution and relevance. First, deep understanding. Expanding sociolinguistic understanding of how language reflects social structure and identities. Second, communication awareness. Helping us become more conscious in our communication so as not to reinforce gender stereotypes. Third, real application. Highly relevant in the fields of education, media, and everyday social interaction. Okay, that's all. The last. Thank you for your attention. I hope this material will remain stored in your memory code. I am Irma Dwi Savitri. See you again and goodbye.